done.
Alright everybody, let's go over the build really quickly. So this is a Sporebloom Bandit build. And for the archetypes, I'm running Hunter, and I'm running Hunter's Mark for the skill. And for the secondary archetype, I'm running Gunslinger, and I'm running Bulletstorm for the skill. Now, you can choose to change this one up. It doesn't have to be Gunslinger. You can run Challenger if you want, and use Rampage as the skill. I find it's a little less reliable, but it is higher damage. But I really like the Gunslinger, not only for the raw damage that it provides, but the reload speed, which is incredibly important, and the additional ammo that you're going to be getting when running around the world. That's one of the biggest problems I seem to run into with Challenger. Even though when I run Challenger, I still take the ammo reserves trait, I don't seem to have enough ammo to get through an entire overworld. So, take that with a grain of salt, and choose to do it however you'd like. The armor doesn't really matter too much. I just like a medium build, so I'm running some medley of medium armor over here. For the relic, I'm running the enlarged heart. Now, you don't have to run this relic either. It doesn't really matter for the build. It's a matter of personal preference. But for the modifiers, I am running the ranged critical chance, weak spot damage, and ranged critical damage. Onto the weapons, we are using the Sporebloom, which is a shotgun, which is going to be important for the rings and amulet you're going to see here in a moment, and the Mutator Bandit, which is incredibly important. This build doesn't work without it. So on hit, it grants a 30% chance to return spent ammo directly into the magazine of the weapon, and then at level 10, you get increased fire rate when ammo is returned. The melee weapon doesn't really matter. I'm using World's Edge just because I like it. And the Enigma is my sidearm here. It also doesn't really matter what you like to use. I just like the Enigma for its AoE clear ability. And then since we're using a lot in our kit that modifies the range of our weapons, which is one of the Enigma's weak points, that's going to help quite a lot. So it works pretty well with this build as a secondary, but ultimately it's up to you. Over to the amulets and rings. Now this is the amulet I like to run here. It's the Rangefinder, which is going to be after killing an enemy, gain 10% range damage and 2 meter firearm range, stacking up to 3 times. Pretty important, as like I said, we're using a shotgun. Onto the rings, I'm currently running Probability Cord for the increased crit damage, Braided Thorns for the increased critical chance, Fey Hunter Ring, which this one is an absolute must, increasing the range of your firearms by another 30%, and the Outcast Ring, which is going to be giving us reload speed, which is also incredibly important for this build. Now, the only one in this build that I'm not so sure of, and I'm still going to be testing out other ones, but this is the one that's working best for me, is the Probability Cord. It's that flat 30% increased crit damage. You can also run something like Xania's Malice, or you can run the ring that makes it so you get light roll no matter what. If you want to run like the Leto Mark II armor to be a little bit tankier on Apocalypse, so you can take maybe 2 hits instead of just 1. Over to the traits, we can go over these pretty quickly. The Longshot and Ammo Reserve are coming with our traits. Fortify, it's from maxing out the Engineer. It's increased armor effectiveness by 50%. Swiftness, anything that grants movement speed is going to be incredibly helpful on Apocalypse. I've only got 8 points in this because I really like to have Siphoner. Vigor, that's just flat health. Expertise, that's going to be Reduce skill cooldown, pretty helpful for this build. Handling, which is your weapon spread and recoil, which I find a must with the Sporebloom if you want to get any sort of range out of the weapon. Siphoner, like I was talking about earlier, I love to have. It's the 3% base damage as lifesteal. Now, I like that because maybe you get hit when you're in the overworld and you don't want to have to burn a relic, especially if you're using the relic I have where you only have 5 charges. Want to get a little bit of health back, just shoot some enemies. With the amount of damage you're putting out with the Sporebloom, you'll get your health back pretty quickly. And then Footwork, I also think is a must here. It increases your movement speed while aiming by 50%. It's also going to help you not get hit as often. So that's about it. If y'all have any questions on the build, feel free to reach out. Put something down in the comments below if you have any suggestions, and I'll see you next time.